They'll tell you a lot of things. They'll tell you who to be, what to want, how to live. They'll write the script for your life if you let your job, your title, your status, it can start to feel like a suit you're wearing that somebody else picked out. And you wake up one morning and look in the mirror and you think, whose life is this anyway? It's a quiet question, a dangerous one, because it leads you to the truth. And the truth is, the most important conversation you will ever have is the one you have with yourself every single morning in front of that very mirror. Before the world gets its hands on you, before the phone starts ringing and the emails start piling up and the noise begins, that's where your power is. That's where it all begins, and it starts with two simple but profound declarations. The first one is this: I am in control of my own life. Now, I can see some of you thinking, come on man, you don't know my boss. You don't know my bills. You don't know my situation. And you're right, I don't. Control doesn't mean that everything that happens to you is your fault. That a storm won't come, that you won't get laid off, that your heart won't get broken. It means that you and only you are in control of your response, your reaction, your next move. That is the one piece of ground nobody can take from you unless you hand it over. Think about it. You hit traffic. You can't control the red taillights stretching for miles. But you can control whether you spend that hour fuming, gripping the wheel, letting your blood pressure rise, or you can decide to listen to a book, to a song you love, to sit in a moment of quiet. You get some tough news. You can't control the news itself, but you can control whether you let it define you or whether you say, all right, this is the situation. Now, what am I going to do about it? That shift, that tiny internal shift from being a passenger to taking the wheel, that changes everything. It's the difference between being a puppet and being the puppeteer. Your strings are in your hands. You just have to be brave enough to pull them. Because when you tell yourself, I am in control, you are not stating a fact of your circumstances, you are stating a fact of your character. You are claiming your sovereignty. You are drawing a line in the sand of your soul and saying, this is my territory. From this mindset forward, I am the author here. And authorship brings us to the second part of this foundation. It's the natural companion, the action that belief demands. You tell yourself, my choices matter. This seems obvious, right? But so many of us live as if our choices are small, insignificant things. We think the big things are what matter, the grand gestures, the lottery wins, the lucky breaks. But life isn't built in those big moments. Life is built in the small, seemingly insignificant choices you make every single hour of every single day. The choice to hit snooze or to get up and move your body. The choice to complain about a problem or to spend 10 minutes working on a solution. The choice to scroll mindlessly through your phone or to read a few pages of a book that stretches your mind. The choice to speak with kindness to the barista who's having a rough morning, or to just look right through them. These choices, they are the bricks your life is built with, and you are the bricklayer. Every single one of them either builds a wall that confines you, or it builds the foundation of a life you can be proud of. You think courage is some grand, one-time thing. No. Courage is a choice you make over and over again in the quiet moments. It's the choice to be honest when a lie would be easier. It's the choice to stay true to your word when it's no longer convenient. When you internalize that your choices matter, you stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for the right time. You understand that the right time is now, and the permission you were waiting for was your own all along. You begin to see that destiny isn't some distant destination you're hurrying toward. Destiny is the trail you are blazing with every single step you choose to take. It's the sum total of all your choices. So you stand there in the morning, you look yourself in the eye, and you say these two things: I am in control of my own life. You claim your power. My choices matter. You claim your responsibility. Power and responsibility, they are two sides of the same coin. You can't have one without the other. This is where it starts, not with a grand 5-year plan, but with the quiet, unshakable decision to take the helm of your own ship. The winds and the waves will come. Believe me, they will come. But from this day forward, you will no longer be a ship tossed by the storm. You will be the captain, charting your own course through it. That is the first and most important thing you will tell yourself today. So you've taken the wheel. You've stood in front of that mirror and you've claimed your authority. You've said, "This is my ship." And now you look at the horizon. And you see it, that distant shore, the big goal, the dream, and it can look 1,000 miles away, and the water between you, and it looks deep and cold, and full of things you can't even name. And that's when the fear sets in. That's when the doubt starts whispering, "You'll never get there. Look how far it is. You don't have the right map. You don't even know how to sail this thing." And that weight, the weight of the entire journey, it can sink you before you even untie the boat from the dock. It can paralyze you because you're trying to swallow the whole ocean in one gulp. And you can't do it, no one can. So what do? You have to change your focus. You have to pull your eyes away from that distant, perfect horizon, and you have to look down. Look at your feet, and you tell yourself the third thing, one step at a time is enough. You don't have to solve it all today. You don't have to have the entire journey mapped out. You just have to take the next step, the right step, the one that's right in front of you. That's it. That's the whole secret. You think success is some giant leap across the canyon. No. Success is building a bridge, brick by brick, and having the faith to lay the next brick, even when you can't see the other side. Maybe your step today isn't to write the whole book. It's to write one paragraph. Maybe it's not to get the promotion. It's to have one difficult, honest conversation. Maybe it's not to solve the entire problem. It's to rate one phone call, to read one chapter, to clean one corner of the room. That single step, that small, deliberate action, it is a vote of confidence in your future self. It is a declaration that you are moving, that you are not stuck. Momentum is a powerful, powerful force, and it starts with a single, small, almost insignificant push. But here's what happens when you focus on that one step. The pressure lifts. The weight of the world isn't on your shoulders anymore, just the simple, manageable task of putting one foot in front of the other. You start to build a rhythm, a cadence, and before you know it, you look back and you see a trail of steps behind you. You see progress. You've built a path. But as you're taking that step, another voice might pop up. The voice of the expert, the critic, the person who's already been there, done that. It says, "You don't know enough. You're not qualified. You're in over your head." And that voice can freeze you just as solid as the fear of the long journey. It makes you feel like an imposter, like a child pretending to be an adult. So you have to speak the fourth truth to yourself, right alongside the third. You have to give yourself the most liberating permission slip you will ever receive. You tell yourself it's okay to not know everything. Let me say that again. It is okay as a fundamental, necessary part of the process to not have all the answers, to not be the smartest person in the room, to be a beginner, to be a student. The need to know everything before you start, that's just pride dressed up as caution. That's ego, trying to protect you from the humiliation of not already being a master. But a master wasn't born a master. A master was once a beginner who wasn't afraid to look foolish, who was willing to ask the dumb question, who was willing to try and fail and learn. The most dangerous person in the world is not the one who doesn't know. It's the one who thinks they already do. They stop growing. They stop learning. They get rigid, brittle. When you give yourself permission to not know, you open up a universe of possibility. You become curious. You start to listen, really listen, to other people, because they might have a piece of the puzzle you're missing. You become open to correction, to a better way, to a surprise. You trade the heavy armor of knowing it all for the flexible, resilient spirit of a lifelong learner. And that spirit, that is what allows you to adapt, to pivot, to navigate the unexpected storms that will inevitably come. So you see, these two things, they walk hand in hand. One step at a time is the action. It's okay to not know, is the mindset that makes the action possible. You take the step, Ethan, you don't have the whole map. You move forward with the uncertainty, not in spite of it. You understand that the map is drawn by the walking. You don't wait for the path to appear, you make the path by walking it. Stop trying to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Have the courage to be a beginner. Have the faith that the next step will be revealed, not by some magical blueprint, but by the very act of you moving forward with an open mind and a willing heart. The journey of 1,000 miles begins not with a map, but with a single, uncertain, and courageous step. Now, take it. So you're on the path. You're taking those steps. You're moving. And that's good. That's progress. But let me tell you something I've learned. The path isn't smooth. It's rocky. You're going to stumble. You're going to skin your knee. You're going to have days when you feel like you're not moving fast enough, or worse, that you've taken a wrong turn and you're lost. And in those moments, in those quiet, desperate moments when you're alone with your thoughts, a different kind of voice can creep in. It's not the voice of doubt about the journey, it's a voice of doubt about you. It's a harsh, critical, relentless voice. It's the voice that measures your worth by your output. It says, you should be further along by now. It says, look at them, they're doing it better, faster, smarter. It says, you call that a step, that's nothing, you need to do more, be more, hustle. This voice, it turns your life into a report card, and you are perpetually, eternally falling short of an ah. It ties your sense of value, your very right to be happy, to what you've produced, what you've achieved, what you've crossed off the list. And if you listen to it long enough, you will run yourself into the ground. You will burn out from the inside, because you're trying to drink from a cup you are constantly emptying yourself. So we come to the heart of the matter. The most radical, the most difficult, and the most necessary thing you will ever tell yourself. You have to look that critical voice in the eye, and you have to say, with all the force you can muster, I am enough. Exactly as I am today. Read that again. Exactly as I am today, not when you lose the 20 pounds, not when you get the promotion, not when you find the partner, not when you finally have it all figured out. Right now, in this skin, with your flaws, with your fears, with your stumbles and your scars, you are a human being, not a human doing. Your worth is not an item to be earned. It is a fact of your birth. It is your birthright. This isn't permission to be complacent. This is the foundation for all meaningful growth. You don't build a house on sand. You build it on solid rock. Self-acceptance is that rock. How can you possibly build a magnificent life if you are constantly condemning the foundation it's built upon? You can't. It will crack under the pressure of your own disdain. And this leads directly to the second part of this declaration, the one that cuts the cord to that relentless, exhausting engine of productivity. You must tell yourself, my worth is not tied to my productivity. Let that sink in. Your value as a person is not measured by your inbox. It is not measured by your bank statement. It is not measured by your title, your followers, or how many items you checked off your to-do list before noon. You are worthy of love, of rest, of joy, of simply being regardless of what you did today. Think about the people you love most in this world. Your child, your parent, your best friend. Do you love them because of their productivity? Do you value them for their output? No. You love them for their laughter, for their spirit, for their heart. You love them for who they are. Why is it so hard, then, to offer that same unconditional grace to yourself? When you untangle your worth from your work, something miraculous happens. The work itself becomes pure. You start doing things not to prove your value, but to express it. You work from a place of abundance, not a place of lack. You can rest without guilt. You can fail without it annihilating your sense of self. You can have an unproductive day and still look in the mirror at night and say, you are still worthy. You are still good. This is the deep, unshakable inner peace that the world cannot give you and the world cannot take away. It's the anchor that holds you fast in any storm. The world will try to sell you 1,000 different versions of worth. A newer car, a bigger house, a more impressive job. But those are just decorations. They are the lights on the tree. They are not the tree itself. The tree is you, your soul, your character, your capacity to love and be loved. So you stand there in the mirror on a day when you didn't get it all done, on a day you made a mistake, On a day you feel messy and imperfect and behind, and you say it, you look yourself right in the eye, and you speak it into existence. I am enough exactly as I am today, and my worth is not tied to my productivity. You say it until you believe it. You say it until the critical voice grows quiet. You say it until your shoulders relax and you can take a full, deep breath again. This isn't a pep talk, it's a homecoming. Welcome home. To yourself. So now you're moving, you've claimed your ship, you're taking the steps, and you've built a solid foundation of self-worth that isn't shaken by every little wave. Good. Now get ready for the storm, because it's coming. I don't care who you are, where you're from, or what your plan is. The storm is part of the deal. The question is never if the challenges will come. The question is what you will make of them when they do. Most of us, we see a challenge, we see a setback, we see a flat-out failure, and we see a stop sign. We see a red light. We see a message from the universe that says, turn back, you're not good enough. This isn't for you. We fight it. We resent it. We complain about how unfair it is. We spend all our energy wishing the obstacle wasn't there, and in doing so, we give all our power to the obstacle itself. But what if you changed your perspective? What if you saw that challenge not as a stop sign, but as a detour? Not as a wall, but as a training ground. This is where you tell yourself the seventh thing. My challenges are helping me grow. Read that to me, not hindering me, helping me. The difficulty, the resistance, the friction, that is not your enemy. That is the weight in the gym. You don't get stronger by lifting feathers. You get stronger by straining against a resistance that forces your muscles to tear and rebuild, stronger than before. Your character is no different. That difficult person in your office, they're not there to torture you. They're there to teach you patience, to teach you boundaries, to teach you how to communicate under pressure. That project that fell apart, it didn't happen to break you. It happened to show you a flaw in your design, a weakness in your foundation, so you could go back and build it back stronger. The heartbreak, it's not proof that love is a lie. It's a brutal, painful lesson in what you truly need, what you truly value, and who you truly are when you're struck down to your core. The struggle isn't a sign that you're off path. The struggle is the path. It's the chisel that's sculpting you. You can either lie there and let it chip away at you, or you can stand up and work with it, understanding that every single blow is shaping you into a more resilient, more complex, more beautiful work of art. And this mindset, this idea that everything and everyone has something to teach you, it doesn't stop with the big, obvious challenges. It extends to every single person you meet. Which brings us to the eighth thing you tell yourself: I can learn something from everyone I meet today. Now, I know what you're thinking. Everyone. Come on, the guy who cut me off in traffic, the rude customer on the phone, the person who holds a belief that is the complete opposite of everything I stand for, especially them. When you walk into a room with the mindset that you already know everything, that room becomes a prison of your own making. It's just you and your own thoughts echoing back at you. But when you walk into a room with humility, with the curiosity of a student, that room becomes a university. Every single person becomes a professor in their own unique subject. The janitor can teach you about diligence and pride in a job well done, even when no one is watching. The child can teach you about wonder and living purely in the moment. The person you passionately disagree with, they are perhaps your most important teacher. They are teaching you patience. They are teaching you how to listen, not to reply, but to understand. They are showing you the movements of your own perspective and forcing you to articulate your own beliefs with more clarity and more compassion. You don't have to agree with them to learn from them. In fact, you often learn the most from those you disagree with. This is how you turn the entire world into your classroom. You stop seeing people as props in the story of your life, and you start seeing them as co-authors, each with a lesson to impart. Some lessons will be in kindness, some will be in grace, and some of the most valuable ones will be in exactly what not to do. But they are all lessons, they all contribute to your education. So you see, these two things are a package. Your challenges and the people you meet, they are not random obstacles. They are your curriculum. They are the specific, custom designed lessons you need to become the person you are meant to be. Stop fighting your education. Stop resenting the teachers. Embrace the detour, for it often leads to a view you were never meant to see. Listen to the person you'd rather ignore, for they might hold a piece of a truth you've been missing. The world isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. Now, go to class. We spend so much of our lives in two places that don't exist. We live in the past, turning over old stones, looking at the scars, wishing we could change what's already done. Or we live in the future, out there in that distant land of someday. Someday I'll have the job. Someday I'll have the money. Someday I'll have the time. Someday I'll be happy. And while we're doing that, while we're time travelers stuck between a yesterday we can't change and a tomorrow that isn't promised, we are missing it. We are missing the only thing that is real, the only thing we are ever guaranteed, this moment, right now, the air in your lungs, the beat of your heart, this single precious, fleeting point in time. And in this moment, no matter how hard it is, no matter what you're carrying, there is a truth you must speak to yourself. It is the ninth thing. It is the anchor that will pull you out of the storm of yesterday and the anxiety of tomorrow and plant your feet firmly on the solid ground of today. You tell yourself, there is something to be grateful for right now. Now, I'm not talking about the big things. I'm not talking about being grateful for the mansion or the $1 million. I'm talking about the small, quiet, almost invisible things. The things we overlook because we're so busy looking for the fireworks that we miss the candle flame. The taste of clean, cool water when you're thirsty. The weight of the blanket on your shoulders when you're tired. The way the light comes through the window in the afternoon and paints a golden square on the floor. The fact that you have eyes to see it. The smile from a stranger on the street. The simple, profound miracle that your heart has been beating without you ever having to tell it to, since the day you were born. Gratitude. It's not just a feeling. It's a practice. It's a discipline. It is a conscious decision to scan your present moment, not for what's wrong, not for what's missing, but for what is already here. And I promise you, if you look for it, you will find it. It might be small. It might seem insignificant, but you find it and you hold on to it. You name it. You acknowledge it. Why? Because gratitude is the ultimate act of rebellion against despair. It is the light you switch on in a dark room. When you are feeling overwhelmed, when you are feeling like you have nothing, the act of finding one single thing to be grateful for, that is you taking back control. That is you saying, He will not take this from me. This small joy is mine. It shifts your entire frequency. It moves you from a state of lack to a state of abundance. It is the perfect companion to everything else we've talked about. When you're taking that one step and it feels lonely, gratitude is the companion walking beside you. When you're facing a challenge and it feels like too much, gratitude is the reminder of the strength you already have. When you feel you are not enough, gratitude for the simple fact of your existence is the affirmation that you are. It pulls you out of your head and plants you firmly in your body, in this world, right here, right now. It stops the endless chatter of what you don't have and connects you to the profound truth of what you do have. This breath, this heartbeat, this moment. So I want you to try something. Right now, wherever you are, I don't want you to say it out loud, just in your mind. Find one thing, just one. The feel of your feet solid on the floor, the sound of your own breathing, a memory of a kindness, a hope that hasn't died. Find one thing and just for a second, just sit with it, acknowledge it, be thankful for it, feel that small, quiet shift. That is the power I'm talking about. That is the anchor. Don't wait for someday to be happy. Someday is a thief. It steals the now. Your life is not a dress rehearsal for some later date. This is it. The main event. Happiness isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a manner of traveling. And it starts by finding the treasure that is already buried in the field of this very moment. The treasure is here. Now, look, all right, we've talked about a lot. We've built the foundation. We've set the compass. We've learned to find the light in the present moment. But all of it, every single bit of it is just theory. It's just philosophy. It's a beautiful map drawn on a wall. It means absolutely nothing if you don't open the door and step out into the territory. You can stand in front of that mirror every morning for the rest of your life and tell yourself you are in control, that you are enough, that you are grateful. But if you then walk out into the world and you play it safe, if you choose the path of least resistance, if you prioritize your comfort over your growth, then those words are just a lullaby you're singing yourself back to sleep with. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is the final, the most critical, the most non-negotiable thing you must grant yourself. It is the permission slip for everything else to matter. You have to look yourself in the eye, and you have to say, with conviction, I give myself permission to try, even if I might fail. Let's talk about that word, failure. We're so afraid of it. We treat it like a stain, a permanent mark on our record. We think it's the opposite of success, but it's not. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is data. It is feedback. It is the most effective, most brutally honest teacher you will ever have. The greatest scientists, the greatest artists, the greatest entrepreneurs, they didn't succeed in spite of their failures. They succeeded because of them. They understood that every failed experiment, every rejected manuscript, every bankrupt idea was not a stop sign. It was a sign that said, okay, that path is closed. Try another one. It narrows the focus, it sharpens the aim. But you have to be willing to take the shot. You have to be willing to stand up at the plate and swing, knowing you might miss. You think Babe Ruth was famous just for his home runs. He was also the strikeout king of his era. He swung for the fences, and he missed a lot. But he was swaying. Most people are still sitting in the dugout, afraid to even pick up the bat, because they might not get a hit their first time up. What are you waiting for? The perfect conditions. The guarantee unanimous applause. My friend, that day will never come. The perfect time is a myth. The stars will never perfectly align. There will always be a reason to wait. Waiting is the most sophisticated form of self-sabotage. Giving yourself permission to try is an act of supreme self-love. It is saying, my potential is more important than my pride. My growth is more important than my comfort. My journey is more important than the opinion of anyone watching from the sidelines. It is the ultimate expression of the control you've claimed. You are choosing courage over comfort. That thing you've been dreaming about, that business, that book, that conversation, that trip, that person. The fear is there. It will always be there. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the judgment that something else is more important than that fear. Your dream is more important than your fear. Your growth is more important than your fear. Your very life is more important than your fear. So you feel the fear. You acknowledge it. You say, I see you. I hear you. And we're doing it anyway. And you take the step. You send the email. You make the call. You write the first sentence. You enroll in the class. You ask the question. You will be scared. Your hand might shake. Your voice might crack. Do it scared. That is the most powerful thing you can ever do. Because on the other side of that fear, whether you succeed or you fail, is a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more alive than the version who stayed safe. You win just by stepping into the arena. You win just by trying. So I'm giving you an assignment tonight. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Before the sun rises on a new day, I want you to give yourself this permission. I want you to identify one thing, one small thing, that you've been putting off because you're afraid you'll mess it up. And I want you to grant yourself the grace to try it. To be a beginner. To be imperfect. To potentially fail gloriously. Don't just listen to these words and nod and go back to your safe, comfortable life. A ship is safe in the harbor, but that is not what ships are built for. The world doesn't need more spectators. It needs more players. More people who are willing to get mud on their boots and scars on their hearts. So get in the game. Your game, the only one that truly matters. Your move.